I'm doing everything all wrong.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the celebrities who proved themselves on the Broadway stage, and the ones who were clearly cast for a quick buck and may not have killed the show, but didn't do it any favors either. Also, just to clarify, when we say stunt casting, we mean celebs with bigger reputations in other mediums who were clearly cast to draw in their fan bases.
That has audiences doing, well, this.
Number 5 worked. Joe Locke, Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street. You probably know this actor as Charlie Spring in Heartstopper or Billy Maximoff/William Kaplan in Agatha All Along. In 2024, he showed off another side of his talent as Tobias Ragg in Sweeney Todd.
I don't need to, I won't never hide a thing from you.
Critics loved how easily he captured Tobias's youthful innocence, but even more than that, they were blown away by his voice. He made Sondheim's music sound effortless, like he'd been on stage forever, instead of making his Broadway debut.
So that's a really hard phrase to navigate, even for musical theatre trained actors. And Joe does such an amazing job of navigating that line, which is very difficult.
Those who know Locke wouldn't have been as surprised, since he grew up performing in amateur productions. Now he's eyeing up shows like The Last 5 Years and Falsettos. And believe us, if that happens, we'll be the first in line for tickets. Number 5 killed the show. Mel B, Rent. Producers clearly hoped she'd bring some extra spice to Mimi Marquez when she joined the cast of Rent in 2004. Unfortunately, the internet has next to nothing to show for her time in the show.
You haven't been on the Broadway stage in what, about 10 years or so?
Yeah, like 10, 11 years.
Okay.
Rent first time.
But honestly, her performance fell flat. Her voice just wasn't strong enough for the role, and it felt like she was so focused on getting everything right that she couldn't relax into her performance, which doesn't really work when you're playing a free spirit.
Did you always think that you would come back to Broadway after doing Rent all those years ago?
I never thought 12 years later I would be back on Broadway. Absolutely not. But you know what? This opportunity happened, and I was like, you know what? I want to do Broadway again.
Some even noted that her consistent vocal cracks were hard to ignore, proving once again that pop and theater are two completely different ballgames. It didn't stop her from playing Roxy Hart on Broadway in 2016 to 17, but let's just say it didn't exactly change how theater fans felt about her.
The show's been running for over 20 years and it still has the house full, so hopefully I'm going to do it justice.
Number 4 worked. Ariana Madix, Chicago. When it was announced that the Vanderpump Rules star would be stepping into Roxy Hart's heels, it certainly raised a few eyebrows. Chicago does love to stunt cast, after all.
If I wasn't a reality TV star with a following, I don't think I would be considered for a lot of things. So this is a proving ground, and I'm here to prove myself.
However, this time, the verdict was in. Madix slayed. Excuse the pun. Fresh off Dancing with the Stars, we knew she could move, but turns out she can sing and act too.
Everywhere life, everywhere joy, everywhere nowadays.
Critics especially praised her comedic timing and how fully she threw herself into the role. Audiences showed up in droves, so much so that the show broke its record for highest-grossing non-holiday performance week. Quote, "I just really enjoy being on stage," Madix said. And trust us, it shows. No wonder her run got extended.
I hope to be able to perform on other stages as well one day. Or to just keep doing this one. I mean, this one's really great.
Number 4 killed the show. Colleen Ballinger, Waitress. Colleen Ballinger built a massive following on her YouTube character Miranda Sings, with, as of writing, over 10 million subscribers. So it's no shock that producers saw those dollar signs light up.
Name up in lights, come take a bite. We know you've probably
Seen us online, now come watch us shine. The glasses and the
aprons are on, it's Ogie and Dawn.
She was cast as Dawn in Waitress, but what audiences got felt more like Miranda as Dawn, which if you know the character isn't exactly a compliment. For some, that was just fine, but for those unfamiliar with her YouTube persona, the casting was a head-scratcher. Waitress is another of those shows that's no stranger to stunt casting to keep ticket sales up, but this was one of those times it just didn't work. At least it was a short run.
strong and stable. I love serve you like a table.
Number 3 worked. Lea Michele, Funny Girl. It almost felt like Lea Michele had spent her Glee years manifesting this role.
I've got no ex to grind. Hey, what are you, blind? In all of the world so far, I'm the greatest star.
The road wasn't exactly smooth, but in 2022, she finally got her shot to prove she was the greatest star, and boy did she deliver. The reviews were glowing. Whether it was years of studying Fanny Brice or just sheer determination, Michele tapped into the spark that makes the character so iconic.
No more hunger and thirst, but first be a person who needs people.
We already knew she could sing, dance, and act, and she was no stranger to doing just that for 8 shows a week. However, critics also praised the depth she brought, really digging into Fanny's emotions. And of course, her Don't Rain on My Parade brought the house down.
Hey, Mr. Unseen, here I am.
Number 3 killed the show. Nick Jonas, Les Mis&eacute. Nick Jonas is best known as 1/3 of the Jonas Brothers, but did you know he started on Broadway?
When I was a kid, I did Broadway shows as a kid. One of the shows I did was Beauty and the Beast. Yes, that is a 9-year-old me has chipped the teacup in Beauty and the Beast.
He returned to the stage as Marius in the 25th anniversary cast of Les Mis&eacute, but honestly, he wasn't quite the right fit for the role.
A heart full of love, a heart full of song. I'm doing everything all wrong.
While he's definitely talented, his pop background didn't mesh with the role's vocal demands. The character requires an operatic voice with a lot of emotional depth, and Jonas's pop style just didn't deliver that.
Oh, my friends, don't ask me what your sacrifice was for.
Plus, Marius is full of passion and vulnerability, and Jonas didn't quite capture that either. Audiences were unsure if they were still hurting when he was cast as Jamie in the 2025 revival of The Last 5 Years.
But I could never rescue you, no matter how I tried.
Number 2 worked. Jordin Sparks, In the Heights. In 2010, this American Idol winner made her Broadway debut as Nina in the Heights.
I'm home. I'm home.
In the Heights on Broadway.
She joined Corbin Bleu, who more than had his head in the game, as Usnavi. Apparently, Sparks had always wanted to perform on Broadway, and when the chance came up sooner than she thought, she worked her socks off to keep up with her more seasoned castmates. And it paid off.
I feel like all my life I've tried to find the answers, working harder, learning Spanish, learning all I can.
Nina's songs share her battles with identity and belonging, and Sparks' amazing, soulful voice really was a perfect fit. Her performance felt so real and relatable, helping Nina's story resonate with the audience.
How do I tell them why I'm coming back home with my eyes on the horizon?
Sparks also joined the Waitress cast in 2019 as Jenna, with a run that was as sweet as pie.
To bring back the fire in her eyes that's been gone, but it used to be mine.
Number 2 killed the show. Rosie O'Donnell, Fiddler on the Roof. O'Donnell and Fiddler on the Roof were about as mismatched as the suitors Yenta lines up for Anatevka's young singles.
Huddle! Oh, Huddle! Have I made a match for you? He's handsome, he's young. All right, he's 62, but he's a nice man, a good catch, true? True.
This wasn't O'Donnell's first Broadway role, having previously played Rizzo in Grease and the Cat in the Hat in Seussical.
Did you ever imagine you see me on stage? Now I'm here. There's no telling what they said.
While some praised her for capturing the essence of a mother and wife in difficult times, others felt her performance lacked emotional depth, making it hard to connect with Golda. She leaned too heavily into her comedic background, which sometimes worked but blocked the way to the character's deeper layers. Plus, her singing wasn't anything to write home about. Had she asked the audience, "Do you love me?" the answer might have been a resounding no.
After 25 years, why talk about love right now?
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Worked, Keke Palmer, Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella. She became the first Black actress in the role and gave a crowning performance.
On the wing of my fancy, I can fly anywhere, and the world will open its arms to me.
Worked, Charlie D'Amelio and Juliet. Proof that when you play your talent to their greatest strengths, even an ensemble role can make them a star. Worked, Raven-Symoné, Sister Act. Did you ever doubt she wouldn't be fabulous, baby? Worked, Darren Criss, Hedwig and the Angry Inch. The critics loved everything from his vocal prowess to his deep connection with this complex character.
I'll lay a fine china on the linen, polish up the chrome. If you got some sugar for me, sugar daddy, bring it home.
Worked, Christina Applegate, Sweet Charity. She was nominated for the Best Actress in a Musical Tony after playing the title role.
Tonight I landed, pow, right in a pot of jam. What a setup, holy cow. They never believe it if my friends could see me now.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Worked, Jinkx Monsoon, Chicago. Jinkx Monsoon's casting as Mama Morton in Chicago was a dream come true for fans and a full circle moment for Jinx herself, who credits the 2002 movie adaptation as her career inspiration.
The movie version of Chicago, I saw this and I thought, the female roles in this show are so perfect for what I know I can do, but I'm perceived as male. So how am I going to get to the point where people are going to start considering me for these roles?
And she absolutely owned the stage. From her commanding presence to delivering every line with that trademark wit, Jinx brought so much confidence to Mama Morton's character. Her comedic timing was, of course, perfect, perfecting the balance between tough as nails and surprisingly vulnerable.
One thing I know, and I've always known, I am my own best friend.
And her voice is just perfect, too. She gives Mama's songs all the sass and power they demand. It's no wonder ticket sales soared, with people willing to stand just to see her. When you're good to Mama, Mama's good for business.
When you're good to Mama, Mama's good to you.
Number 1, killed the show, Boy George, Moulin Rouge. JoJo was a sparkling diamond as Satine.
Suddenly the world seems such a perfect place.
Come on,
Sadly, Boy George as Harold Ziedler was not so spectacular. Fans noted that his performance lacked the energy and charisma Ziedler needed to command the stage. His delivery felt subdued, missing the over-the-top charm that makes the character magnetic.
It's about observing and, and then trying to add who you think you are as that character into it.
Many also found his vocal chops underwhelming and lackluster. At times, it felt more like Boy George playing himself rather than Ziedler. Given his past legal troubles, some people weren't thrilled about his casting at all. Other actors have brought this wild, chaotic energy to the role, and Boy George's take felt too low-key. This part needs a true ringleader, and he just didn't bring enough to the party. What celebs have you watched in a show, and how did they fare? Let us know in the comments.
But now look! Roxy rocks Chicago!
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.